Anita got up from her chair and bustled about the kitchen for a few moments, then returned with a child-sized plastic cup of brownish liquid. In the meantime, Howard espied the snacks that Anita had made for her guest and herself lying on a plate on the table. The flaky, slightly browned crust of the tartlets looked so inviting that he decided to take one for himself. He reached up to the table just as Anita came up behind him with his drink. Immediately, his hand was knocked away from the table by a stinging blow from behind and above. "Naughty baby," Anita scolded, "that's not for you. Keep your hands off the table. Do you understand, Mommy?" "Yes, Mama," Howard said in a low, humiliated voice as he rubbed the back of his hand where Anita had slapped it. "Next time I catch you putting your hands where they don't belong, I'm going to put you over my knee, pull down your panties and spank your bare bottom. The tops of all the tables, counters and dressers are off limits to you. And that includes the end tables next to the couch as well as the couch itself. Mommy doesn't want you touching anything or getting on anything without her permission. Do you understand me, baby boy?" "Aha," Howard answered in shocked mortification. In one fell swoop, Anita had placed half the house off limits to him. About the only places he was allowed to touch anything was either on the floor or in his bed. Suddenly, his world felt much smaller. It was the offhand way she had done it that Howard found so embarrassing. To have his wrist slapped down and then be scolded for being a naughty baby in front of a stranger like he was a mere toddler was degrading. Tears of emotion welled up in his eyes and threatened to begin rolling down his cheeks. "Don't cry, sweetie," Anita said in a conciliatory tone, "Mommy's not mad at you anymore. Here, drink this. It will make you feel better." She handed the small blue plastic tumbler she had prepared to Howard, who looked at the concoction in askance. "What dis?" Howard slurred with a frown. "Chocolate milk," Anita replied. "The attendants at the daycare center told me how much you like chocolate milk before your afternoon nap. Now drink it all down, Howie, and make a happy cup for Mommy." Howard sipped at the milk doubtfully and was shocked at how good it tasted. The chocolate flavor was far more intense than the commercial concoction he had been given at the daycare center. He was surprised that he found the extreme sweetness of the drink to be superlatable. He guzzled the drink in a single draught and asked hesitantly, "More?" Anita got up and took the glass from him and made him another. Howard took the glass eagerly from her hands and quaffed the sweet mixture down quickly. The cold milk filled his stomach to the brim and gave his insides a pleasing feeling of coolness. As he held out the glass to Anita for her to take it from him, Howard felt a strange feeling of warmth run down his right leg. He looked down involuntarily at the odd sensation to see what was producing it and was horrified to see that he was peeing in his pants. He followed the path of urine down his leg and was mortified to see that he had made a huge puddle on the kitchen floor in front of the two women. "Oh, Howie! How could you?" Anita exclaimed in dismay as he continued to drip on the floor. Fran smiled broadly at Howard's accident when she saw her opinion of him vindicated by his babyish behavior. It wouldn't take many more puddles on the floor before Anita lost patience with Howard and saw that she was right about putting him in diapers. "Excuse me, Fran," Anita said as she picked up Howard and began to carry him to his bedroom so she could change his soggy pants. Fran followed as Anita toted Howard into his bedroom and stood his feet on the floor. Anita knelt down in front of him and unceremoniously jerked his sodden pants down his legs in a single motion, saying, "Step out of your pants, honey bunch." Howard complied to allow Anita to pick up his wet underwear between her thumb and forefinger. "Now stay right there, sweetheart, while Mommy takes your wet undies into the bathroom to soak in the sink. I'll be right back." Anita turned to Fran and said, "Could you watch him for me while I'm gone? I don't want him running all over the house and making another mess on the floor when I'm not watching." Fran nodded in agreement and waited in the room to supervise the naked toddler standing before her with a half smile on her face. Howard was mortified by Fran's open stare at his nude body. She seemed to be scrutinizing every inch of his body as if she was privy to the dark secret of Howard's true age. Her facial expression did nothing to reassure him of her innocence of his plight. Her Buddha-like smile made Howard extremely uneasy. Fran exuded an air of being knowledgeable in things that were far beyond the ken of an ordinary person. Howard had the feeling that there was more to the woman than her matronly appearance suggested. She radiated a feeling of tremendous personal power held in check by a personality that was possessed by a will and direction that were almost goddess-like in their intensity. He felt like a mounted insect under the scrutiny of a discerning collector. Howard was surprised that his nudity in Fran's presence did not invoke an intense desire for modesty in him, but the neutral analytical expression she affected as she surveyed his regressed body convinced him that her thoughts had no sexual components. He was only an object to be observed and measured against some unknown standard, nothing more. Her probing eyes made him feel as if clothes would not have hidden the secrets of his body from her. He felt completely exposed and vulnerable to her disquieting gaze. It made him want to hide under the bed. Anita returned with a white box in her hand and dropped it on the bed at Howard's side. She opened the box and took out a thick wet towelette to wipe the urine from his crotch and legs. A few quick swipes with the towelette and she was done. Anita tossed the used towelette on the bed's comforter, then hoisted him up and laid him on the bed on his back. She smiled as she took another towelette from the box and spread his legs wide so she could have full access to his pubic area while Fran looked on in silence. When Anita lifted his legs to clean behind his testicles, Howard's shifting weight made the heavy plastic waterproof cover on the mattress crinkle loudly beneath the bedclothes. Howard blushed in embarrassment as Fran's stone face cracked into a smile as his bottom rocked noisily underneath Anita's ministrations. It was obvious to Howard that she understood the implications of the sound the bed made. The provisions that Anita had made to protect the mattress from Howard's incontinence were no secret to Fran. The humiliating knowledge was written clearly on her face. She knew that he was not only incontinent during the day, but he was incontinent at night as well. Being naked in the presence of two fully dressed women and having his pubes scrubbed with the baby wipe had temporarily revived Howard's sex drive. Wild thoughts of being enslaved by the two women and used sexually raced through Howard's consciousness. His tiny penis had become erect, exposing his carnal desires to his wife's friend. Howard was at once both aroused and embarrassed by his evident horniness. What if Fran should take offense at his erection? Fran could break him in two with ease if she had the slightest desire to hurt him. The thought made him feel vulnerable and increased his state of arousal. All he could think of was that his tiny size made him the perfect victim for their urges if they choose to exercise their power over him. He knew that they could do anything they wanted to with him and he would be helpless to resist. Howard knew that they didn't see him as a man, rather his diminutive size made him only a toy to be used at their pleasure. The thought made him squirm in fear and embarrassment.